Okay. Let's see if we can pull some of this out a little bit, just a little bit. Okay. Uh, Another part of growing pains that I had to deal with, that I had to come across, and I had to literally deal with, and this was like the most important one that I had to go through, was changing my habits, changing the way that I view how I believe people are, changing my view of what I was taught on how I view the world and how people view me in the world, what it takes, understanding what it really takes to do something, and what you have to give up in order to do it. Okay. Um, and I know a lot of people gonna say, "Well, you was in the pageantry. You know, you have to give up when you do stuff, and you did all this stuff, and you were in the papers, and used to do a lot of journalism and stuff like that." Um, yes, um, that is true. What I've also known from my personal experience is to whom much is given, much is required. So every time you go into a higher level or a higher dimension into doing something else, there is another force that comes around and it is stronger than the next. So in order to overcome the negative, or what we call the negative or the bad, we have to come out with that exact force of positive or good, to counteract it or higher in order to break through. To not only just sit there, but to break through, to pierce through. Um, so yeah, I had to change. What did I think that a person who a healthy person is a healthy person, or not only a healthy person, what a successful person is. I had to redefine that. Is a healthy person someone who exercises every day? Is it a person who breathes every day? Is it a person who knows balance? Is it a person who looks for good? Is it a person, and I'm not saying any of these are right, or the one answer is right and one answer is wrong or stuff like that. I'm just saying these are the things that I had to deal with myself in order to become a better Belle, to get to the next elevation of myself. Okay. um, and I had to address that. I had to redefine what it meant to be successful. What did it mean to be healthy? What did it mean to be what did it truly mean to me to be financially stable? Um, does it mean that I'm able to buy every car that I want? Does it mean that I have a lot of loans in the bank? I can able to get credit easily? Does it mean that I'm able to own all my things without having credit? Um, does it mean that I am able to help others? I had to, a lot of relationships or habits had to be redefined. Like the goals had to be redefined. The labels had to be redefined. Who am I? What am I designed to do? What is my goal? And once I understand what my goal, what does that look like? What does that look like? What does that entail? You know, um, that's where I came at, and what do I feel that it comes entail. And then I based off of what I saw, because I usually do that anyway, and everyone does that. Most people do. They base off what they saw. Like people who want to be supermodels, they see the people that are on TV, or you go to um, fashion shoots or model shows. Different places. It doesn't have to be really extravagant, but you see what they do, and they're usually thin, or now they have the plus size models, so it's kind of big. I did do some modeling before, but it is very strenuous, especially me being dead in the middle. So either I have to eat a lot more or eat a lot less in order to get in either size. Um, and people don't understand that too. Like, yeah, it's different ways. But these are the things that I had to deal with. I had to redefine and reshape find out what my goals reshape what I thought my goals really were. And through that, find out what does it take for that. And my whole thing was I wanted sanity. I wanted my sanity back. It was something inside of me that did not feel right, did not feel whole. When you are connected to God, and I'm not talking like, I don't want people to get freaked out. I'm not talking about church. I'm talking about when you are connected to the Master, it has a dynamic on you that it overtakes the room. A lot of people, when they see me or when I'm performing or when I'm doing something, they will see and they will be like, "Oh my God, Bill, you were like whoosh, like you just captured the whole room." And that's what happens when you are in the presence of God. So me having that experience and having the experience to be in the presence of God, you can be in a coffee store minding your own business, not doing nothing, and the light shines on you and people can just see, and the magnitude is like that's what I'm used to. So for me not to have that and to not feel that, because when you don't feel the connection, I'm not talking about if people don't acknowledge you, this is, you feel this, the communion. When I didn't feel that, it made me feel dead. And I got to a point, I was trying to ignore it because I was like, maybe I was reaching out this way instead of trying to get the connection this way, not knowing that the connection lost was this, not this way, not through people, not through. So when I understood that, I had to have this heart falling to understand that the connection was up here, that was misplaced. um, I just redefined what that took. Taking time out for him, taking time to get more. I love to exercise, but I had to get more in tune with my word. Um, and people, a lot of people that know me know that I do read my Bible, like, and get into it, I guess, quite a bit. But like I said, to whom much is given, much is required. So it took more time. I'm telling you, the higher you go, the more intense, the more stuff you're going to have to go through. This took more time of learning, observing, participating, having a relationship, a communion with God. Okay, that's what it took. It really, really took all of that to get that relationship back. I had to say, I don't care what it is, I don't care. And that's how I felt. Like, I don't care what happened with this relationship, even though that was hurtful, all that, but I felt dead this way. And that's the first connection that you have. That is the first connection. Your vertical connection is the first connection you have. Even when you go into your the father and the mother having relation, that's the connection, the vertical connection. When you go out of your mother's placenta, out of her womb, it's the vertical connection. You don't go horizontal first. So I know that sounds crazy, but that's what I was missing that. So what I do, I got closer to him. I got more in the word, and I started obeying, because sacrifice is better. Obeying is better than sacrifice. I was about to say backwards. Dyslexia. Well, anywho, I started doing that, and I noticed that I saw a change. The change in myself. I started getting renewed. Not only my mind, but everything started to change. Even how I looked. I started to look younger. People will be like, "Bill, you look so younger. That person must have been dragging you down." No. What most people don't understand with growing pains, because they think, "Oh, well, this is the narcissist thing, blah 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 blah." If you look at the greater picture, like I tell you, don't look at that. Don't look at the person. You look at the experience that's coming to you, because nothing happens on an accident. So you have to be a very dynamic person for somebody to try to leech off of you anyway, okay? Because people who are leeches, they really understand energy, and they know what is a good source and what is not, okay? So you need to, the only person that don't know it is you, okay? I was the only person that didn't know it. And that's because you were really connected. So that's what you want to find. You want to find that connection. Um, and that connection led me um, to do what was required, okay? What was, not only what was necessary, what was required to get the next outcome, to get me into that next plateau, into that next dimension, to do um, what I needed to do on this planet. On this planet, not only on this planet, but in the spiritual. Whatever is done on earth is done in heaven. Whatever is bound on earth is bound in heaven. Whatever is loose on earth is loosed in heaven. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, So, and I know a lot of people are not Christians, but even in the Quran and in the tablets, they tell you the same things, okay? I used to read the Quran and I used to read just a lot of books because I like history, okay? I like we are people patterns and the enemy really works with patterns. Please understand, those fallen angels um and those things like that, they deal with patterns. They know what your ancestors did, and based off of what your ancestors did, they know what you're going to do or what's in your line, what's in your bloodline. So, yeah, it helped me to change my habits. And when you see what's in there, what's inside of there, some of the things, some of the bad habits that I understood that was pushing me back, because if you don't take responsibility, it will come back to you. It will keep nagging at you and it will keep happening until you fix it. I had a lot of, I don't want to say boundary issues because I really don't believe there are no boundaries. Like, people think if I can stay right here and this happens, I'm safe. But there are certain grounds that you can hold and say and stand by and say this is only as far as I'm gonna go with this. Just like when people tell you no, um, when they say I can only go this far, that's the same thing that you're gonna have to say with someone who is toxic, or as far as anything that's being violated. You don't even have to look at certain people when things don't feel good, not good. When things are not safe for you or good for you, you need to let them go. So that's what I learned.